once it goes through the head of department or divisional director, it'll go here. Once it's all supported, then we'll review the application for eligibility and we'll go ahead and make it eligible. I have an extra application that I'm going to go through and make ineligible just to show you guys that option as well. The eligible one is very good for you guys to see because it gives you a good understanding of expectations regarding what is an eligible application and what you would really possibly make ineligible. Okay, so first things first, we are going to go ahead and have a look at our applications that are currently with the head of department. And the way I could see that, or if you guys wanted to see what's currently with your head of department, would be via this with HOD or divisional director homepage tile just in the top left-hand corner we have here. So hopefully you don't have as many as me, but the study we're looking for is going to be titled Pre-Authorization RGO. So when you do see it, I just want you to click on it because we're going to just make sure we're the head of department. So we're going to edit it. So I'm just going to click on it and it's going to take me directly into the study there. So as I was saying, in the homepage tile setup, when you do click on an application from your application tile, it takes you directly to that summary page. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to make yourself the head of department, and that's just purely so we can go ahead and complete the head of department decision as the head of department. So what we need to do is make our page editable first. So in the top right hand corner, we're going to select this edit icon, little pencil in the box there. Nice and easy, we just click it. So this means our page is editable. If we navigate anywhere within the study now, it's going to stay editable. That's just another tip there. You don't have to make each page editable. The whole application from your point of view is now editable. And what we want to do is select management to expand that. And from there, we're just going to go to decisions. So a head of department request for support is technically a decision in the system. So that's what we want to click on. We want to go to decisions from the left-hand side here. And this is automatically created. You don't create this. This is something that's created from the system when an applicant has added a head of department within their application. They submit the application and then it creates this decision for the head of department. So you guys actually can see all the decisions that are created even if you don't create them. You technically can manually add head of department decisions. I don't think you guys would have to do that again. You're getting set up with your full list of head of departments that you've discussed with Patrick and Raoul. So technically, I don't think you would be having to manually add anyone. So all we want to do on this row, I'll quickly kind of point out what you're looking at here because again, it's probably the first time it's been a while since you looked at this. Each decision that's created in the system automatically has an identifier allocated to it. So it's a really unique ID. The type of decision is just letting you know what it is. This is a head of department support for site-specific assessment, so that's what it's referring to. When it was created, so I created this back in November, it's related entity, so what is it related to? It's related to the site application that's in the system, so it's in the first version. And there are 10 documents associated with this study. That's what that is on this row, just pretty much outlining what exactly this decision is. We don't really need to touch on these now. I will go through those with you a little bit later, but I'll briefly tell you what they are, but we'll look at them actually in more detail a little bit later. So you can actually manage the documents. So there's 10 documents here. If you wanted to remove any from the view, you can go into select documents and you can manage them. We will look at that in detail tomorrow, so I won't touch it. Download is download option. It downloads all of the documents attached to this decision. View user decision, I'll click on this for you. So if you click on that, it just shows you who the user is associated with that decision. So Melinda would have got a head of department request for support. Okay. The I again, it's very similar. View, it just opens it on the page here for you to show you that Melinda again has been assigned the decision on this date, and that's the date the decision was created. And this is the one I'll get you guys to touch is the edit icon. So it's just that little pencil on that row. And we don't have to put a due date, guys, because we're going to do it ourselves. If you wanted to you'll see this sometimes pop up, current due date. If you say, look, I want to give this person a week to complete this decision, you can use that option. It will just flag it in the external portal that this person has something due in a week. And if it becomes overdue, it has like a bit of a warning, but we don't we don't need to touch it. So what we want to do, we don't touch predecessor. I've spoken with the vendor about this in particular. I think it's a little bit confusing. We didn't ask for this to be put in, so I don't really touch on this in my training. I don't think it's useful. I think it's probably a little complicated for what it is. So don't worry about predecessor. In this instance, we're going to update the user from, on my screen, it's Melinda. We're going to make it ourselves so we can complete this. So on this user row, we go all the way to the right-hand side of the screen, and we're just going to use the little X to remove that user. So click on the X, the user's removed. We're now going to select the three little dots just to the right of the screen on that user row again. And that's going to pop up a add user box, and this is a list of every user in the system. So anyone with a Regis account is in the system here. Groups refer to groups of users. Perhaps more likely you'll see this with meetings. So again, it's not really relevant to you in that regard. It's a very ethics-centric thing. So you can say, you can have a hatred group there. So you don't really need to touch that. That's when meetings are created in the system, they use groups. So what we want to do, just search your name. So I've made sure you guys should have your work email is your username. So I'm just going to start putting my name dot surname. I'm going to hit the search bar just to the right of the screen there, and it should pull you up. But when you do see yourself, you just click on it. So you can click anywhere once it's highlighted and it will check the box. And at the bottom of the screen, we're just going to select the tick to add the user. So once we find ourselves, make sure we've checked the box, tick at the bottom, and we should now appear here. The notes below are working notes. It's for you. Your research office will only see it. No one else will see this. So you don't have to put anything in there. It is purely for your reference. If there's anything you kind of want to note in there, it will save in there. So we don't want to override this outcome. You do have that option if, say, for example, your head of department has taken unexpected sick leave and perhaps, you know, you need to add someone else. Again, probably best to reach out to us first so we can just assist you with that, because it's one of those scenarios that is a blue moon scenario. You're not going to do it all the time. You're not going to remember how to kind of get in here and do this. It's not something you would expect to be doing. So if that happens, just reach out to us and we can help you out. We've added ourselves. We're just going to hit save now because we want to save this decision that we've updated. So just save. So that little gold bar up there just lets me know it's saving. Also a good tip, guys, if it's blue text or any colored text that isn't black, it means the data hasn't been saved. So just a little tip there. Now it's saved. I can see the text has gone black. And I'm just going to check my email just to see if that's come through nice and quickly. It has. If you guys want to check your email, you should have an email very simple, just looking like this. This will be the quickest way for you to get to the decision. So it'll just be titled Head of Department Request, -action required. It's got our identifier there. So I'll just zoom in on this one because it's a bit small. It's a really basic email here. It's got what it is. It's a Head of Department Request, action required for this particular application. Dear so-and-so, you've been nominated as Head of Department for this application. It needs your declaration of support. We can download the documents from here. So as you can see, you can download the documents. They can record their decision. I'm just going to quickly go through the email template just to let you know what it looks like. So we've got what the study identifier is, what the title is, who the PI is. This is a list of all the documents that are currently attached to this application. So that's just a quick kind of look at it. If they're not sure how to provide support, we've got a link here as well. If they think they've received it incorrectly, contact their local research office. So again, link is only active for 14 days. So after 2 weeks, they need to log into the system and navigate to the decision. That's where this will come into play, this how to log in, provide your support, just in case they haven't had to do that before. We're going to make life really easy for ourselves. And we're just going to use the record your decision link because that's going to take us directly to the decision. And this is one of the benefits we've had with our head of department requests in system. We don't want them to have to click 1,000 things. So what we're going to do, guys, we're just going to hit one of these record decision links. And it takes us directly into the decision. They don't have to log in. They don't have to fiddle around trying to find it. As we can see on the screen, it's right here. So what we can see here, and I'll just kind of explain, the system likes to save a PDF and a Word version of the site application. That's why we've got two here. It's the same application, it's just PDF or Word. What we can also see here, I've got a PIC form, so a participant information consent form. So ethics appears to be external for this study. So this is where my ethics application and documents have been submitted. It's a zip file. We've got our certificate of currency, it must be a clinical trial, CTRA. We've got a questionnaire as well, indemnity, and we've got also our ethics approval. So I can see nice quick overview. I've had a look, I can see the documents that have been submitted. We won't click on these yet, but I'll just explain what's on the screen. To the right is where they can nice and easily provide a decision. They can go, yep, happy to support the application by clicking on the green tick, or not tick, the green thumb. Not happy with it, perhaps it's missing some vital information they need, so they can say, look, I'm not going to support it. They can also go, look, happy to support it if the following financial assistance is provided, and they just put a little comment just saying exactly what they mean. So they've got 3 options here, which we won't touch at this point because we want to have a look at the SSA real quick. From a head of department point of view, there is a little section in the site application that they can review nice and quickly to have a summary of exactly what resources are required. And if we click on the PDF here, we can click on either. It should pop up on the screen. The only documents that won't pop up on the screen are zip files, and I'm pretty sure emails, email files. So if we click just on the wording SSA here, it should just pop up on the screen, which is, I like that feature. I don't have to download the document, I can just look at it all on the screen here. We're just going to navigate to Part C, because we'll have a look at this during eligibility more thoroughly, but I just want to show you from a head of department view what they're looking at, or what would be good for them to have a look at is, I should have put some more data in here, but the resources. This is where a good little summary should be provided, because this will be a really quick way to say, look, we're going to be using, or we're required to use A, B, and C from your department. You know, this is where they would summarize it. So this is pretty much where your head of department would look in regards to trying to get that quick view of what they're trying to submit. Obviously, the documents submitted as well, whatever's relevant to them, they would have a review of that as well. So this is just letting you know, Part C, Department of Services, is specifically for the head of department. And we'll go through this form a little bit better in a moment. We're just going to close this one now. So we've had a look at that. As a head of department, we'd obviously want to be really nice and clear about exactly what we're looking at. I'm not going to make us do that because, again, these are all dummy documents. But just showing you that's an area which you guys are and will be aware of. And from our point of view, we're happy as the head of department. So we're just going to go ahead and hit this able to undertake the investigation services. So we can push it through to the research officer, we can get back to reviewing it from our side. So once we click on it, as you can see, it's bold for me now, the color's bolded out. So we're clicking on the able to undertake. So once you click on it, it will go green. If you clicked on either of the below, so unable or able to, which I don't want you to do, but just if you did, you would have to provide a conditional reason. It won't let you save this unless you provide a conditional reason. So they can't just go, I'm not accepting this and send it off. There has to be a comment. We hit save. Once we hit save, it'll save it all up. It'll grey out. We can't change our decision. So once the head of department makes a decision, if it's the wrong decision, they've got to contact the research office. Not something I would expect you to have to try and figure out yourself, so please just contact us, don't be shy. Once it's selected, as you can see, it's all blocked out. So we're done with the head of department. I'm just going to make my screen there. You should have your internal portal still open. So it should still be open at the top of the screen for you. You've got a tab. It should be back at this screen. This would be your home. So your home is your kind of home page, if you think about it like that. So we just hit home. We were all in this one, so let's just make sure we're good. Fantastic. So as the head of department has completed their support, so all head of departments have provided support, bang, it should then go into this new STE homepage tile. So I've got a few in here, so I'm just going to go to the last page. And I can see that we're all following along well. And this is where you, as the research office, this is the first time it's going to be coming to you. So you can actually get your hands on it, you can have a look at it. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to utilize the tile. It is going to be your best friend in managing your workload. So we want to get really familiar with the tiles. And we're just going to go ahead and click on the one with our initials. And the way I've got the tiles set up for you here, I recommend leaving them as this flow because that's exactly how it flows through the system. To me, that's just the easiest way to kind of go, I know that it's already got support, so it should be in this tile. I've made it eligible, it's gone to that tile. So just a bit of a reference for yourself. Once you get really happy and familiar in the system, move the tiles around however you want, whatever makes sense to you. But just for now, I think this is a really good way to see how your application flows through the system as well. Just a bit of a familiarity there too. So we've clicked on the application. Again, it takes us directly back to the summary page. So this is a really nice kind of quick overview of the study here. We have also updated the status here, just in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So it was completed pending HOD. Now it is submitted. So once all head of departments provide support, it changes to submitted. So statuses are really a good visual identifier for not just you guys in the research office, but also the researchers, just to see that it's gone from here to there. What we want to do is, it's come to us for eligibility. So eligibility is very much just making sure it can go for formal review. Couple of reasons you might not mark something eligible is it's got dummy responses. Maybe the documents submitted do not match what they've actually described them as, so it's completely mismatching, it's not correct. Or it's just really poor quality. You wouldn't want to maybe make it ineligible if perhaps a footer is missing from a document, because 99% of the time, guys, you're going to go ahead and request information. I don't think I've ever seen an application in my research office time that has gone from submitted to authorized that well. There's always a request for information. So if it's something small that you think can just be addressed in a request for information, you don't really need to send it back as ineligible if it can just get updated in that request for information too. So just thinking about how to minimize the back and forth as well, I think is really important in your relationship with your researchers. I'm not going to tell you how to do your job though, but if you can kind of avoid lots of back and forth, I think it makes it easier for people that perhaps are really new in the system too, from the researcher side, having to go, okay, now I have to do this, but I forgot to put a footer there. All right, it's come back to me. I've got to then resubmit it. And just that back and forth where realistically, you're going to ask for information. Eligibility. We've got two options. You can click the thumb, which I think personally is the quickest and easiest way. So the thumb on the right-hand side of the screen here, that's your eligibility thumb. That will allow you to download the documents within the eligibility. You can review them, and then you can complete the eligibility. If you wanted to review the documents before completing eligibility, you can go to related documents. So this, to me, in my opinion, for you guys getting started, would be the easiest and quickest way. But if you want to review the documents without going into eligibility first, not a problem. You can go and look at the documents from the left-hand menu, so management, and then you've got related documents. So it's a bit more of a two-step process there. So we click on that, and this will be all of the submitted documents with this application. So they're all here, and you can go ahead and click and download these documents as you like. You can download them all at once using the checkbox on the gold row here. That's just a bulk download function. And if you bulk download, it just downloads into a zip file for you. So anytime you see a gold row and there's a checkbox, that's just going to allow you to bulk download whatever is underneath it. So that's an option, guys. If you want to look at that before you complete eligibility, absolutely fine, you can do that. You can also complete that all within the eligibility as well. So you've got two options to kind of go ahead and review documents. While we're here real quick, I'll just kind of break down what we're seeing on the screen too. So title is the title of the document. We've got the electronic file name, document type, so application, ethics application decision notification. This is really important if ethics is external. This allows the system to understand ethics at this point has been approved. And we get this nice little tag automatically attached to the application to let you guys know, and the system, ethics is approved. You don't have to wait for approval to push it through to authorization. So the system is not going to stop anything. It's going to let you keep going through all your reviews, your CE's review and authorization. If they upload a document, do the ethics approval, and they don't call it ethics application decision notification, that's the document type they can select. The system's not going to read ethics approval. 9 out of 10 times when you get an application and it goes to valid and you're like, hold on, the ethics approval's there, I saw it, I read it. That's what I would recommend checking, the document type. Because 9 out of 10 times, they've just labeled it wrong. And it's okay, it happens. It just needs to be updated. So you can actually edit that and update it. But again, if you come across it, touch base with us. We'll show you how to do it in the first couple of instances so you're familiar. So we've got system version here. It's a little bit condensed, but I'll show you how to kind of fix that as well. So system version just lets you know that these are the initially submitted documents. When we start playing tomorrow with requesting information, that's when you'll see some of these numbers start to change. But this is the initially submitted application, so they're version 1 at the moment. We don't have tags here at the moment. I'll touch on that tomorrow once we get closer to authorization, so I won't kind of confuse you at the moment. But tags are things you can kind of name against the document to help you maybe understand if it's an authorized document or like you're going to authorize it or such. But it'll make sense tomorrow when I touch on that. The only thing with tags, please don't create any new tags. There are plenty in there. There will be something that'll match what you're after or it'll be close enough, I promise you. Date modified is the date the document has been submitted. So, yes, initially submitted. So this was submitted on the 24th. The version of the application. So again, it's the initial application. So it's 1.00. It's always going to be 1.00 when it's initially submitted. We don't have any documents that are related to any other applications in the system at the moment. If we had ethics existing in Regis and it was approved, we might see some approved documents sitting under here as well, just letting us know these documents are linked with the ethics application. This is really a little bit handy as well. So we'll go to the SSAs down here. If you have, say, perhaps a couple of versions of the SSA in the system, if you click on this little arrow chasing its tail, it's got a little clock in there. You click on that, it'll actually list each version of the application and you can download them if you need to. So the system never deletes documents, it'll just hide it from view. So only the most current should be visible to you guys, so it's not confusing. But yeah, you have the option to download and you've got some data in here just letting you know when it was submitted, what version of the application, etc. And the download icon is just downloading the document there for you. We might play with the tag view at the, tomorrow because we don't have any tags here. This kind of just will put it into a view with everything that has a tag. So if I click that, it's gonna just put them all together anyway. So tomorrow when we have some tags to play with, we'll use that. This is resetting the layout. So if we wanted to change what we see on here, which we can do using the choose column option. If we click on the choose column option, we can kind of say, look, I don't want to see, I'll just remove this for now. You don't have to do this, guys, but I'll do it to show you. Date modified. Okay, I've just removed that column from there. So again, you can customize this to be what exactly you're looking for. If you don't want to see the electronic file name, we can get rid of that. So you can kind of just customize it as you like. As soon as you click on it, it saves and it updates. If I want to reset that because I don't like that, I just hit the reset and it'll just pull them back in. And just another tip, if you go in between the columns, you can just resize them if you like as well. So play around with it, whatever works for you. I don't want the modified there. It's going to be too much on my screen, so I'll get rid of that. Sorry, I'm just customizing it now because I know what I removed before. So I'm just going to get rid of these guys. That should be a bit easier to look at. So yeah, you can play around. You're not going to wreck anything. If you're worried that you don't like it anymore, just reset the layout and it'll go back to normal. This will just download, export your documents to an Excel file, just a list for you. So you have that option there too. So again, this is where you can download the documents to review them before you complete eligibility. It's same. If you went into the eligibility from the right-hand menu, you have the option in there. Let's go into the eligibility because we can do the same thing from both. So let's go ahead and just click on the eligibility thumb. So this is what the eligibility review looks like. Obviously, we would download documents first, but this is the basic criteria. So there are just 2 criteria to complete really, and then we have the email. But what we're going to do, I just want to show you. At the bottom of the screen, we've got the download application option. We've got download attachments, And if you wanted to, you could open an application viewer. We don't want to do that though. So I'm just going to click on the download application at the bottom of the screen, as well as download attachment. So we're just downloading the application and the attachment, so we're going to click on both. This is why I said, look, you can actually just go into eligibility, download the documents, review them here, and then complete it. You can also, if you want to, go to related documents, but I think this is the one spot, so it's kind of easy for us to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the application on the screen, and we'll have a look at it. And I'll also just open the zip on the side. So I'm just going to open it on the screen and I'll go through some details on the application form. I'll just make it a bit bigger so it's all on one page. So obviously I've put a lot of dummy responses in here. I'd send this back straight away, but for training, it looks good. It's fantastic. So really basic, we've got part A, which is study-wide information. Title should have a summary of the study there. Lets you know the details regarding the HREC, so CPI, the HREC, the HREC ID, study type, and clinical trial type as well. So this information is pulling from project registration. So again, study-wide information, again, this is a clinical trial, so I've got some clinical trial details here. It's not under NCAT, okay. And we've got sponsor type and the sponsor name if provided there. Below that, we've got study-wide information. So study-wide information is, well, it should be actually part B, it should be site team members. So that should be the site's name that it's going to. It should be the PI details, which you can see here, the principal investigator details, and activities and responsibilities for the project. So again, it should have a summary. So again, basic kind of PI details here, just indicating a bit of details related to that particular person. If they had added an admin contact, it'd have the admin contact details here. Same if they added submitter, etc. So what we can see here is, who's this? Who's this supposed to be? I think this is supposed to be the associate investigator. Yep. So what we've got here, I've added an associate investigator. So for clinical trials, specific studies in the system, for sites, it's a mandatory field that they add an associate investigator so they can be available when the PI is unavailable. So you need someone to be able to step into that role. So the associate investigator is a mandatory field. When it is a clinical trial, the applicant can't submit the site application without completing that field. So it's a bit of a fail-safe there just to make sure someone can take over if the unexpected happens. So again, that's just basic details regarding the other study team member there. Below that, we had a look at that previously. That's the department and services. That should be all of the departments listed that will be required, the PI is requiring or the study is requiring any resource from. I think we've touched on that. That includes if it's just staff as well. That's a resource from the department. It could be utilizing tools from the department, say maybe they're going to radiology or such, even if it's medical records. So that needs to be listed as well. So there's just anything they'll be requiring any kind of resource from, it should be in this section here. Below that, if there's any data related to recruitment record tissue data, it's got to be completed here. I made our studies really easy, guys. We didn't want to obviously put in so much data there, but if we had, it should be showing that nice and clearly. Site costing and fundings. So again, that's related to, and I think we touched on that a bit earlier as well, any kind of financial cost associated with the study. So this is the documents that have been attached. So in here, we want to see the document types nice and clear. And what we also want to see is the document title, so the descriptors, nice and clear here as well. Pardon me. So what I would do, I would pretty much just be making sure, so this is the documents I downloaded as a zip file. I'd just be making sure the documents that have been submitted actually match the documents they've listed. So again, I'd just be comparing these documents. I'm not going to open them because they're all dummy documents, but you would obviously have a good review. Just make sure, one, they are the documents they're saying they are, two, they're complete. They're not, you know, just jumbled together, and complete that review there. Just below that, just at the bottom here, is we have a declaration by the PI, and that's when they submitted it. So it's just the date and the PI. You may see if someone is a submitter, they can submit this application on behalf of the PI. It'll still list the PI here, and it will have the I think the wording is just purely submitter, and it has the same details below. Obviously, this showing as submitter. So don't freak out if you see that. The system has that functionality now, so it'll still list who the PI is, and below that will be the person who has submitted it, if not the PI. So only someone with submit access can submit this application, and the only way they get that is confirmation from the PI. So either the PI gives them the access, or they go ahead and tick an approval that they've given it. So there's no other way this person can get submit access. Just to want to make that nice and clear if you see a second name on there and you're not sure what it is. I'm just going to close this form now, and I just want to open up one more thing, which is your project registration, just to quickly show you what that is. The project registration form is probably more reviewed by ethics, and I'll just open it up. I'll just zoom out, it's a bit big for me. Ethics review this a little bit more thoroughly just because it provides a full list of sites they're required to approve. It could be external sites because they're not going to generate in the system. It could be university sites, etc. So that's one of the main reasons ethics would open this up to have a look. For you guys, you know, it's one of those things where a lot of the information is already in the site application. It is just kind of duplicate information if you wanted to have a look. It's very much utilized by ethics, not so much by governance. Study details. So this just indicates that ethics approval has come through from TASI, which we saw in the site application. So we saw that information there. We saw the HREC and the HREC code. So this data is pulling into your site application. So we saw that. Basic project details here. So the study title, category of research, etc. So if you wanted a more thorough look, you could. Just scroll down. I won't go too crazy in here. So this is where you'll see all the sites. So as you can see, I put all of your sites in here. So this could be something where you wanted to have a look at all of the sites associated with it. It's here. Again, this is what ethics would really be looking at, because they would be looking at a full list, including external sites. So you can see here, it's probably a little bit, you've got a bit more information here. This is the additional contact, and this submit, that means they're a submitter. So that's me. I put myself as a submitter for your study so I could submit everything. So that's what this is new. This is only of October. So you got all your sites here. Center and jurisdiction. So center is in this instance, it's the LHD, and the site is the site it's occurring at. So this is the hospital. So center doesn't just refer to an LHD, it does refer to AHO, it'll refer to a PHO, etc. It's also clear on the project registration form when they're completing that what falls under a center or a site, center or jurisdiction. So there's a few here, I'll just scroll down because I put them all in there. And then just below, CPI details. Okay, and we've got documents that would have been attached with this project registration, which is the basics that we had in there. So because ethics is external, technically the study protocol is in the ethics application package. So if ethics was existing in Regis, you would see a minimum study protocol here. But ethics is external, so we've got the ethics application, HARIA, and other documents. It should be included in that bundle. So that's the project registration form. Again, I don't know realistically if you guys would really be looking at that. I think the information that's in your site application is probably enough for you to review. It's there if you want to have a look at it. It's more utilized by ethics, to be honest, because you could see there was a lot of repeated data in there anyway. So just going to close that. What we've got here now, we've reviewed the documents. We're happy with that. I think that's worked out quite well. The application is of a quality that we can go ahead and push it through for eligibility for a formal review. So I'm happy at this point. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to provide eligibility for this particular study. So is the application eligible for review by the Research Governance Office? We can either say yes or no. We're going to go with yes. We don't have to put a comment here. If you put a comment there, it is just purely for you in your office. It's not going to send out. It's just, again, it's working notes if you want to just say, look, it was fantastic, so happy. Once you provide that information, you can either click the top number 2 here, or you can just use the big red arrow to move to the next page. So you can use the header or the arrow, they do the same thing. Number 2 is pretty much us now going to indicate in the system it's going to be eligible or ineligible. We're happy with it, so we're going to make it eligible. If we did not want to make it eligible, which I'll show you after this with my other study, this is where we'd put a comment, because the comments you put here will pull through to your email. So the first comments is for you. The second comment section, so just before you send an email, it'll pull those comments into the email template for you. So if you needed to say, look, you know, please update documents you've attached on document or such, you could do that, but I'll show you that in a moment. But this, just to be mindful, the comments here before you send an email, they will pull through. So this is where I want you to follow me exactly, because some people like to not follow me, so please follow me exactly, because if you don't, you're going to send some weird things out. So eligibility toggle, not determined, so we click it once, it's eligible. That's it. I will show you what happens if I click it again. So you keep it on eligible. If I click it again, it's ineligible. Okay, so we just want to make it eligible. Good. Don't touch the bottom one. So I don't think you need to overcomplicate your eligibilities right now. Once you get more confident in the system, I'll tell you what to do with that. But I think keep it simple. Eligible, not eligible. This pretty much says you've got someone else in your office that you want to have a look at this application because you're not sure about if it meets eligibility, okay? And that'll send it to them to review. I don't think you need to do that at the moment, guys, just to keep it simple, because it's actually a whole new, it's a whole process. It's not just a click and it goes. There's tasks that are created and such. I think getting started in the system, let's keep it really simple. Once you're confident and you think you might utilize that, we can touch on that. To be completely honest as well, I think maybe 1 or 2 sites, RGOs in New South Wales, use this out of everyone that's in the system. So it's not something that is used widely. So eligible, happy with that. We click the arrow to go next, or you can click the header if you like. And it should pull up the email template now. So the email template will read your decision, and we can see it's eligible. So it's pulling the eligible template. It's eligible to be reviewed. This pretty much just says, hey, it's not an authorization notification. Your study isn't authorized yet. Your study has been made eligible. Okay, it's going to continue on for review, okay, for a final authorization. So we've got that information in the template here. If you guys want to remove anything, be very, very mindful not to remove information that is useful in a guidance kind of way for your applicants. If you kind of remove not authorization notification, you're going to get one person's going to go, fantastic, it's authorized, I'm going to start my study. Just be really, really mindful. It happens. It does happen. A lot of people see this and they just ignore this as well, and they go, study's authorized, fantastic, let's go. No, okay, it's not authorized at this moment. This actually tells you the next steps that's going to happen. It's going to be reviewed by the RGO. It's going to go through to your CEO delegate, then it'll be authorized. There are links, so sometimes we will have guides, videos, and links. Don't remove them because, again, it's useful information for your applicants, and the link will take them into the system from their point of view, so it's really useful. You can add to the emails if you like. I don't mind. Just be very, very mindful when you're editing templates, because you can see this is an editable email, what information you're removing. If you forget to put a comment in this step before, it's okay. The email is editable. Put it in here. You don't have to go back. You can just pop it into the email. If you want to kind of reload the email, you've made a few mistakes in there and you don't remember what you've done, you can hit the reload template and I'll just show you. Okay, so I've just added some data there. Just reload, just takes it back to the original template. That's what the reload email template is. If you need to attach anything specific for your office, you can pop it in here. Okay, this is a little drop file, or you can click drag drop. Once we're happy with that, guys, we won't need to edit this. Let's just go ahead and hit the tick on the right hand side of the screen. That will complete the eligibility. It'll send the email to the applicant, and we're going to see the status update as well. So click on the tick just to the right of the screen. All right, so first thing we can see at the top of the screen is eligible. So the status is updated here, top right-hand side of the screen. So statuses, it was submitted, now it's gone to eligible. Let's go to our home page because I want to show you it's moved out of that tile, it's gone to the next tile. So home page, top left-hand corner. Okay, so we should have, I've got mine here, I can see Julie's there, and Bilal and Sarah's there. So it's gone, see how it's jumping? It's got that flow, that's the flow in the system, and that's why I wanted these tiles set up this specific way. So you have a good understanding of the expected flow in the system. This is kind of your day-to-day flow. So you can see, you know, if you're still getting familiar with the system, this is how an application does flow through the system. It goes to your head of departments, divisional directors, gets submitted to your office. You either make it eligible or ineligible. If ethics isn't in the system, it goes to valid. You can ask for information, it comes back, it's going to go provided, goes to your CE, and then it's ready to be formally authorized. So this is pretty much a flow of an application overall in the system. What I'll do though, I'm going to go ahead and find my other study I have, and I'm going to go ahead and make it ineligible, just so I can show you guys what happens when we do that, so you don't have to do that. And what I'm going to do, study, so I'm just going to go to my application. The coins there on the right hand side of the screen. If I click that, it's going to take me to the application. So you can use the left hand menu. Just make sure our page is editable. Edit. And I've got the option to add an eligibility assessment. Personally, I think the thumb is the quickest way. Add eligibility assessment. It's going to open the eligibility for us. I'm not going to go ahead and review the documents here because it's all dummy documents, but if I had reviewed this and it's just incomplete, you know, it doesn't make sense, the application is terrible, I would say no at this point. I don't need to put a comment here because the comments I'm going to put are going to reflect in the email. So I want to make sure what I'm saying is going to pull through to that email. So no, and I can use the header like I was saying, guys. You can use the arrow or the header, whatever you like. I'm going to click this twice, so it's ineligible. So I'm just going to say application appears to have dummy data. Please review and complete data appropriately. Obviously, you'd be very detailed in your response. You want it to be exactly what you're after. You don't have to go back and forth 20 times. Look, this is terrible, fix this up. So even if you knew exactly where in the application, you're like, part B, you know, question 6, because we talked about question 6. And you could just be really, really clear so they can go, oh, okay, I'm going to go right back there. Okay, she said this, all right, I'll put this in, or he said this, I'll put this in. So the clearer you are, it's going to be much easier even on you, because you're not having to go, okay, come back, and they still didn't, you know, answer what I said. I have to send it back. Once you put your comment in, we go to the next page. Okay, so this is where the comment has pulled through. So if you forget to put the comment in that section, don't worry, the template is editable. You can pop it in here, but it's kind of a step process. So if you're already there, put your comment in, it does pull through. And it's really nice and easy. The reason as follows, it's got the comment there. So it's ineligible. Okay, this is what they need to do. Even because we've selected the toggle to say ineligible, it knows the template should be pulling ineligible. So it's got some videos, some guidance documents here. I wouldn't remove these. Obviously, this is one you want to keep. I probably really wouldn't edit this too much. If there's something specific your office likes to put in there, that's fine, go nuts. But yeah, this is just basic information, I think, just to allow them to kind of respond to you. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the tick there because I don't need to change anything here. And what we're going to see is that the status will update, and I'll show you where it's popped in from the tile as well. So it was initially submitted. So it would have been in your new STE tile. Now we can see it's ineligible in the top right hand corner. Okay, and if I go back to my home page, it's ineligible here. So it's popped in there. It's the same process as we saw. Same process. We click on the eligibility. We either just toggle it yes or no, or ineligible, eligible, and it will send an update as appropriate. So again, the system is doing a lot of that for you. So it's gone from here to there. What your applicant needs to do is, in this instance, they create a new version of the application. So when they submit it, it goes to submitted. So that's where you'll see it pop back in. But again, at this point, this is out of Research Office hands. It is with your researcher.